Hey, what up? Um, so let's get to this video. So this video is all about Parkland and what is happening in America right now. So today is March 14th, and if you don't know about March 14th, basically a month after the school shooting in Parkland, organizers decided that we should have a school walkout um, to show support for and to remember the 17 that were killed um, in Parkland, and then also to kind of sort of support for the students who are kind of still kind of dealing with this massive event in their life. Um, and so, because I don't have drama in my life, I love to go on Facebook and just read the comments because it adds enough drama that I don't feel overwhelmed, but I can still have that little bit of drama and not have to seek it out in my actual life. Um, but I typically just don't respond because that will add too much drama to my life. But I feel like I need to respond to what I'm seeing. And I'm going to respond to it via video because that way I can get it out, no one's going to watch it, and then it's done. So, um, and reading the comments about the walkout, there were a lot of people older than me, so like baby boomers and all that stuff. They were just saying that we were stupid, that teenagers have no idea what real life is about, and they just are sheep, and that they're just following the media, they're becoming pawns, and all of that jazz. Um, which I really just pay attention to because I do think to discredit someone because of their age is kind of ridiculous. When it comes to like knowing what's going on in the world, I think that um, unfortunately younger students and younger children are having to pay attention to the world more than what I had to do, and I mean we're only 10 years apart, not even. Um, but this video is about the kind of other part of that backlash kind of protest. I don't know what to call it, which is about the walk up, not walk out. And again, I'm not sure if I call it a protest or not, but it's basically saying that instead of having a 17-minute walkout, that students should walk up to students who are being ostracized and not being included and should then include them themselves and to basically stop the bullying. And yeah, I don't agree with the walk up, as you probably can tell by my face right now. Um, let's start with the beginning. So I don't think that bullying is ever okay, and I do think that we need to make more of an effort to be inclusive. But that being said, not everyone is neurotypical. There are some people who ostracize themselves for a reason because they can't function um, the same way that other people do. And so you trying to inject yourself in the person's life could actually make them worse. So to just assume that everyone needs to have these friends and be included in everything, I think is kind of ridiculous, first of all. And second of all, I think the walk up is basically putting blame on the Parkland student, saying that he didn't bully this kid, um, that he wouldn't have shot y'all. He wouldn't have shot up the school, which I think is a bull because it doesn't matter how much you are bullied in your life. If you don't have access to a gun, you can't become a school shooter. Just oddly enough, you cannot shoot people without a gun. So, removing the access to the gun will then lower the number of school shooters, which is a pretty decent theory, I would think. And I'm not saying get rid of every single gun, because that would be ridiculous. But the fact that he was reported multiple times to like local and federal agencies saying that this kid is going to become the next school shooter, we need to do something, get him the help he needs, and nothing was done, and he was able to go and buy a gun and then shoot up a school is ridiculous. And I cannot fathom why we have this discussion every like 2 years, it feels like. I mean, it's probably even more than that. I mean, there's school shootings in America like every couple of months. It's just, fortunately, none of them are this as big as Parkland, which is a horrible thing to say, by the way. It's horrible. Um, yeah, and so I don't believe that this walk up protest is accurate because I do think it is deflecting and putting the blame on the wrong people. Um, because again, if he didn't have access to the gun, he cannot become a school shooter. It doesn't matter how much you're bullied. And like for me, for example, I'll use myself. I was not really bullied in high school. I had a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on myself to be perfect and to get into a good school. But also in high school, I was 17 and under, so I would never have. I never would have been able to buy a gun legally, just because of the legal age is 18, I believe. However, college, whole different story. College was worse for me. My first 2 years, I think, were absolute nightmares. Um, and I got to do with bullying and a bit of hazing. So, two for the price of one. And it was a whole lot worse for me. And I definitely shut down, definitely had my bouts of depression, um, just about dropped out of school because of it. And never once would I become a school shooter because I didn't have access to a gun. Even still, if I had access to a gun, I probably would have harmed myself first before harming other people. So to say that because bullying makes everyone bonkers and want to shoot up a school is ridiculous. Um, and I also believe studies have shown that most gun violence for people who are mentally ill, basically like depressed and bipolar and things of that nature, are harming themselves and basically committing suicide. They're not going out and shooting up schools. Yeah. So there's that. And then I just hate the deflection because this 18-year-old who is half an adult in the fact that they can vote and buy a gun and join the military, but not all the way an adult because they can't drink alcohol and there's still some restrictions like buying like glue, and like spray paint. Sometimes you have to be 21 to buy like some of those harsher chemicals and stuff like that. And so we trust them with some things and not other things. And I think if we're going to trust them with a lethal weapon, we should be training people more. Like, I don't understand why guns are so accessible. For example, use myself again. So I was a wildlife major in college, and towards the end of my career in college, I guess, our teacher decided it'd be a great idea to have all the wildlife students kind of get involved in like hunting and outdoor recreation experiences because we would be in that field and we would be dealing with this. And so I took an online, like maybe 1.5 hour gun safety and hunting course, and that was it. I could go hunting. I could just take a gun and just go out and shoot some deer. And legally in Alabama, I can shoot like 4 deer in Alabama. That's terrifying because I've never been near a gun, let alone handled one, and this online course certified me. But to drive a car, I have to basically pass the permit test, log like 100+ hours with a chaperone, with in daylight, in at night, in rain, in different weather, in different temperatures, at different altitudes, with parking and parallel parking and all this stuff, to then pass a written exam of all of the laws or most of the laws and road signs, and then a practical to make sure that I'm qualified to drive this car. And then, even though I am fully licensed at this point, there are still regulations. Like, I can't text and drive, I can't drink and drive. Um, I can't drive a semi because those are deadlier and they have more requirements. And so we have all these regulations. But then with the gun, we're like, oh, it's people's right. We just can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. We're just going to have to kill our children. This is totally normal. Um, and that's what I don't get. So, like, for me with guns, I have no problem with guns. I might have to use a gun at my work anytime because that's a profession I chose, and I don't understand why anyone needs a semi-automatic rifle outside of like work. So, like, if you need it for hunting, what animal is standing there long enough for you to get 3, 4 shots out? Like, things take off as soon as they hear the first bullet. And if you're trying to basically, if your hunting style is to shoot the thing full of lead, you just kind of invalidated your hunt and also kind of ruined the meat of the animal. So that again makes no sense. And then two, for defense, people say, "Oh, I need it for defending," and that's totally fine if you want to defend your house with a gun. But why not aim for like a shotgun that has a bigger blast radius so you can kind of cover more area? You're not going to need 35 bullets. You're going to need one, and they probably will turn back around if they get shot at. Again, things aren't sticking around for you to fire off 30 shots unless you're in like a literally a crowded area where people cannot escape. So there is no reason for you to have semi-automatic. And then there's no reason for us to allow bump stocks as well. Like, why are we giving people magazines that can hold 35 bullets? That that makes some sense. You're basically making this from a killing machine that's used to kill and defend yourself to something that is meant to kill mass amounts of people. And that's where I think I draw the line is that having a gun is fine. When you are retrofitting it to basically be able to mow down a crowd of people, that's where we have to question you. And that's for me to say, why do you need this? Is it for hunting? Is it for recreation? Like, why do you feel the need to have this weapon in your house? So yeah, so that's my stance on Parkland and guns. And if you want to leave a comment, you're more than welcome to. I just ask to be respectful. You know, we're all adults. Most of us are adults. So yeah, and long story short, I do agree with the national walkouts. I think that having 17 minutes of silence and walking out of school does show that you take this serious and that you want to feel safe at school. And I don't necessarily agree with the walk up scenarios in that I don't think it's the right time for that. I think that's something we should talk about all year long and not something that comes up just because we had a school shooting and now you want to deflect the issue. Um, so yeah, I think it's more of a deflection tool than anything else. So yeah, we shall see. But this generation of high schoolers and people younger than me definitely are giving me hope. They're just out here trying to change the world, and I believe that they can do it. I hope they can do it. If not, I want to leave the U.S. You know, but to just live in Spain, it's fine. Everything's fine. All right, all right. So thanks for watching. I'm out. Deuces.